All right, let's get right into it. We're going to break down a really powerful framework for those moments that matter. You know, the big presentations, the make or break pitches, that job interview you really want. And listen, this isn't about being the most charismatic person in the room. This is pure strategy.
I mean, this is the question, isn't it? It's the one that can keep you up at night. You've done the work, you know your material inside out, but then you walk into a room and it's just a sea of new faces. Where do you even start?
You know, our gut instinct is just to try and make everyone happy. We want to be liked, so we try to make eye contact with every single person, get every head nodding along. But honestly, that's not just exhausting, it's a terrible strategy. You end up spreading your energy so thin that your message gets completely watered down.
And here's the big secret, the real mind shift. You don't need the entire room on your side. In fact, trying to do that can seriously backfire. The real key is to stop broadcasting your message to everyone and start targeting it to the people who actually matter.
Because in pretty much any room where a decision is about to be made, it turns out there are only 3 types of people who hold all the power. And figuring out who they are and what they need to hear from you, that's the difference between a huge success and a total failure.
So first up, and this is the most important one, you've got the decider. This is the person with the ultimate authority. And hey, they might not even be the most senior person in the room, but trust me, they have the final say.
So how do you pick them out of the lineup? Well, it's not always obvious. They're often the quietest one, just kind of sitting back, observing, taking it all in. But here's the tell. When they finally speak, the whole room goes quiet. Everybody leans in. So your strategy for them isn't about bells and whistles, it's all about substance. You've got to give them clear, concrete outcomes and prove you've thought through all the risks.
This right here is the question that's just running on a loop in their head. Everything you say is being filtered through this lens. Your entire pitch, from start to finish, has to be a direct answer to this unspoken question. You have to make them feel certain that your idea is the smart, safe choice.
Okay, so you found the decider. Great. Now we're going to look for your secret weapon in the room, the supporter. This person is your potential ally, your champion.
Now these guys are way easier to spot. They're the ones nodding along as you talk. Their body language is open and positive. They might even jump into the conversation to add something or agree with you. Your goal here isn't just to get their approval, it's to activate them. You want to give them a really clear benefit, a little soundbite that they can take and use to sell your idea for you long after you've left.
When you hear something like this, you've found them. That's your supporter. They're already doing the work for you, connecting your idea to other good things. They are literally looking for reasons to say yes. Your job is just to hand them the best ones.
And finally, we have the person everyone is afraid of, the blocker. But here's the thing you have to understand. They might not actually be your enemy. A lot of the time, they're just stress testing your idea. You can usually spot them by their body language, leaning back, arms crossed. They're the ones interrupting you with those tough, challenging questions, trying to poke holes in everything you say. Now, your first instinct is to get defensive or try to ignore them. Don't. The winning move is to go right at them, address their concerns head on, maybe even before they ask. It shows the decider that you are totally prepared and you're not afraid of a challenge. So when you hear that question you were dreading, but what about XYZ? Don't panic. Seriously, see it as a gift. It's your moment. Because if you can come back with, "That's an excellent question. I figured you might be concerned about XYZ, and here's how we've planned for that." Wow, you've just turned their attack into a masterclass on how well you've thought this through. You've completely neutralized them.
So, now you know the 3 key players. How do you actually put all of this into action? What's the strategic game plan for your next big meeting?
It's really just a simple 3-step process. First, when you walk in, take a minute. Just observe. Figure out who's who. Map the room. Second, you've got to match your message. Make sure you're hitting the specific points that each of those 3 people needs to hear. And finally, step 3, execute. Deliver your plan with confidence.
Look, this is what it all boils down to. This is the whole strategy in a nutshell. Your energy is no longer scattered. It's focused. Your mission is to convince the decider with logic and a solid plan. You activate the supporter by giving them the tools to fight for you. And you neutralize the blocker by showing you're prepared for anything. That's the game.
So the biggest takeaway here is this massive shift in how you think about these situations. You're moving away from just crossing your fingers and hoping people like you, and you're moving into a place of active, strategic influence. It puts you in the driver's seat.
And that leaves us with one final thought to take with you. Before you walk into that next big meeting,
Just ask yourself this one question, because if you can spot the decider, the supporter, and the blocker ahead of time, you already have the roadmap you need to win the room.